I wanted to make an update on the Xbox project, and first most important thing, it works. And this is what I've done so far. I removed all the stuff that was here. It was all like falling apart, and I realized this is not the original pad, which is something that I've suspected before. And you can see, if you know the Xbox, you can see there is a ring under here. It's really hard to show you. I'll try and find a different spot. Up here, it's really easy to spot it. You can see the green here. This is the original ring under, and this is probably a replacement pad that they've used. So I removed the stuff and left only with this hard thing, and I'm just gonna take something like a mouse pad, cut it into size, and just use that. Well, but for now this is enough. I've added really a cool feature here. As you can see, it's a control, although I'll turn it around after that and I'll show you the back side of it. And the cool thing is that I've made a menu, and now you can choose the type of drum. So let's do this, and let's pick channel 1. I'll choose it, and now I can change the sound. You can see, let's test it. Okay, let's change something else. Okay, and now let's get out of the menu. And this is channel 1. And you can see, I don't know why it's playing so quiet. Oh, there you go. It's not perfect. It's not perfect yet. So I'm gonna turn it around and show you the back side, all the connection. It's still a bit of a mess, but hey, we're just in the beginning. So you remember the connector from the last episode, and this is all the wires that comes in from the different drums, from the pads. And all of this goes here, and this is the one I've showed you before that I've done, and it's wire, and it's coming here, and it all goes up into the Arduino. So I got like the 6 analogs here, and the rest of it is just for the menu and stuff. And of course I got a USB cable. So, and on the computer itself, as you can see, I got 3 things, and let's just switch to the computer. It'll be much easier to explain. In order to get the project playing, we need 3 different softwares. We need a serial bridge. I'm using hairless MIDI serial bridge to have it connected between the USB device, which is of course the Arduino Uno, and the loopy internal MIDI. The loopy internal MIDI is an actual MIDI port. And then we got the virtual MIDI piano keyboard, which is this software, which allows me to choose a MIDI port by choosing the loopy internal MIDI port. Confusing, I know. I gotta mention, I'm not a MIDI expert, so if anything I'm saying here is just plain dumb, leave me a comment and educate me. I'll love that. Now what I've done is, as you can see here, the bridge is, we'll get a note from the serial and then move it to the MIDI, and you can see it's from the USB device here to the loopy internal MIDI. And you can do it in reverse as well, but I'm only concerned this way. So if I play the drum now, and it's not playing, of course. So let me pause the video and fix that, and so we can play it. I had to unchoose and choose the USB because I disconnected it. So now you can see it comes, there's a note that comes in, and then it goes into the MIDI. So it's basically acting as a bridge here. Now, the software, as I've said in the previous episode, is the hardest part, and it's for many reasons. First of all, MIDI, when you're playing a note, when you're playing, let's say, a piano, so when you press it, as long as you keep it pressed, it will play, and once you leave it, it will stop making that sound. The thing is, when you play drums has like, you hit the drum, and it has a length of time. It doesn't keep on playing that sound. So you have to play the sound and then also stop it. But if you stop it too early, you will get that weird sounds, like it's cutting down the sound of the drum. So this is the first code that I took, and I was like, oh yeah, that's great. I already got a MIDI drum all set and ready to play. Great. The thing was that this code was made for playing, and I think it was an Xbox, an actual Xbox with an actual MIDI port. The thing was that probably the game just needed the start and end of the MIDI note, and I'll go over the start and end of the MIDI note in a second.
And the end result was that when you played, it sounds something like this. You can barely hear it, and it's not playing the entire note. And I will show you why it's happening. And let's go over to the Arduino. Now, this is his code, and I'm not going to go over all of it. I'm just going to show you two important things. Let me scroll down. The first thing is MIDI note on. To send a MIDI note, you're just basically writing a set of notes into the serial here, which then goes into the MIDI port. There is a command to set it on, which started at a certain number, and then from then on, let's say if the first number it's, let's say, 140, so the next channel, if you want to play that channel, will be 141, 142, and so on. Then you send the note, which is again counts as a number, and the velocity, meaning how strong you want to play it, and that goes from 0 to 127. And the same goes for the MIDI note off. You send the note off, the note itself, and the velocity. Now again, I'm not a MIDI expert. If there's other things, if you want to comment about this, I would love to hear about it. Now, I'm not going over his entire code, I'm just going to show you two things. He starts the actual detecting of the hitting on the drum set by checking the analog, and he only goes when he finished the edge, meaning when the sound is already decaying, and then he sends the note. It's all good again for the game probably, and what he does is sends the on note and the off note really one next to the other. I realized that if I want any normal sound, I gotta separate those two, and I can show you. If I'll add a delay here and then upload this code, you will all of a sudden hear the sound. So I'm gonna pause the video, upload the code, and then I'm gonna show you the difference. Okay, I've uploaded the new code, and now notice all of a sudden you got the entire sound. Now the thing is that it dumps up, it's because it's probably this. Yes, it's just above it. So you can see all of a sudden you got the entire range of the drum. And I had to battle with this code for a while, and I came out with a code of my own, and I'll show it to you in a second. And here is the code that I've used. What I'm doing basically, I'm using two states. When it's 0, it means I'm waiting for the next hit. And what I'm saying is, if the value is currently, it's bigger than the threshold, meaning I've already passed, so not every hit on it will start playing. And the coordinate states millis, meaning the last time it happened, it's not that I'm playing the same note again. And as long as I haven't reached the top yet, I'm waiting here. So basically, once I detect that a certain drum is past the threshold, I'm waiting for it to get to its top of its pick. And once it's happening, what I do is I'm calculating the note, and I'm sending it with a MIDI note, and I'm setting the state of that drum to 1. When it comes to 1, what it does, it's basically checking. You remember I showed you before, I'm doing a delay. Of course, when you're doing something that is real time or you want it to be as fast as possible, you cannot use delay. So what I did is I checked, I've made a variable that says, okay, what's the time I'm waiting between the part that I've played the note until I'm turning it off, and this is variable. And as long as I haven't passed, I'm not switching it off. And once I switch it off, I'm turning it back to state 0, and I'm setting the states. And then I move to the next piezo, which is one of what's actually measuring the sounds. And it goes over a loop and loop, and this is called process drums, and you can see it's running here, process drums. I got process menu, it's what I showed you before, the menu. So yes, this is for the code. I hope you enjoy the covering, and the next big step for me is to move this to play on a Raspberry. So first I can move this for my kids into the living room when the Raspberry is already connected to the TV. And the second thing is I want to make it a standalone, meaning I want to bring a Raspberry 0, connect it on, have it with a speaker, and then I got a standalone electric drums. Well, till next. Post-editing, I've noticed that the sound is horrible, and it's not that horrible, it's just you cannot hear it probably because it's MIDI port in. So I'm going to show you what happens without a delay. You hear it's just short stump,
And I'm going to pause and I'm going to upload the code with the delay. Now I've uploaded, now all of a sudden you got full sound because of the delay, so you don't start and stop the sound immediately. Well, that's great.